So let's talk wrist angles. Let's try to keep it simple, but let me explain what your wrists need to be doing for you to achieve a little bit of shaft lean, for you to hopefully achieve a good ball strike. I know we still need to speak about the body, which I will do in the next video. So, for me to achieve shaft lean, my wrists need to do one of two things. My lead wrist needs to have a little bit of bowing, so a little bit of flexion, so feeling like maybe the logo of my glove is slightly more down towards the ground and definitely not up towards the sky in a cupped position. That cupped position will add loft and get the club head past the grip, which will obviously give you a not very compressive strike, and therefore your trailed wrist needs to do the opposite. We need to have the trail wrist in a little bit of extension, and we need to make sure that we're sort of, dare I say it, nearly maintaining a little bit of that through strike to get the shaft lean for that compression. If the right wrist starts to go into a bit of flexion, where we start to see like a scooping action, again, same thing's going to happen to that club head. It's going to pass the hands. We're going to get the club head in front of the grip. We're not going to get that strike. So we need to feel that we are maintaining a little bit of angles here. Now, I know you can get those sort of training aids that you can put on your trail arm, and it helps you to keep that right wrist back, which obviously does work. And you could potentially maybe put something down the glove to maybe like a tee to stop you cupping your wrist, because the tee will then jab into your wrist. But we want to try to feel that when we get to impact, we've got a little bit of that. That's the feeling that we want. A little bit of bowing, a little bit of extension. So the way that you can develop a feel for this is just to punch a few shots out there. Because if you have the mindset that you are trying to punch it, let's be honest, we've always had some occasion in probably a recent round where we're in the trees and have had to try and punch it out of the trees. For example, here at Alzora, it's been quite windy since I've been out here. So again, using that punch shot has been quite beneficial in the wind. So if I told you to hit a punch shot, I would like to assume that you are going to try and deliver the club, de-lofting the club. So you're going to have your hand in front of that golf ball at moment of impact. You're going to have your weight forward, and you're going to feel that you are not trying to scoop it or trying to lean back. All those things within that sort of action are fantastic for great ball striking. So just trying to feel that you're going to punch a few out there, and we can keep this nice and simple. Use my little line for a reference point. So what I'd like you to do, worrying about wrist conditions, is just get yourself into that desired position to start with. Now, what I've done is a little bit of movement into my lead side, a little bit of hip rotation, and sort of got the impact position that I would like to see, where the hands are opposite my lead thigh or the inside of my lead thigh, and there's definitely a little bit of extension and a little bit of flexion. And if I just sort of stayed in this position, just to start with, and just rocked my arms back and just struck the ball 20 yards down the fairway, you can see the strike was really crisp. It had a penetrating flight because I delivered shaft lean, and I got the feeling of what my wrist needed to do at impact. That was actually really quite nice. If I then got myself into impact, so a little bit of weight forward, a little bit of shaft lean, stay there, rock back. You can see the last two have been quite zippy, which is obviously great for the fact that this range is massively into wind today. It was yesterday while I was here as well, actually. So this is definitely the normal wind, shall we say. And then all you need to do, once you've got that feeling where you've created that shaft lean, in fact, let me show you from a face-on perspective. So what I'm doing, normal address position, impact. So you see that my trail knee works towards my lead knee. My trail foot is slightly sort of rolled inwards. I've not thrusted it upwards. I've sort of just slid slightly to my lead side. I've got a little bit of weight forward. The center of my chest is definitely in front of that golf ball. And I'm going to maintain that and then try and recreate that at impact to get the feeling of that sort of low flight, that ball first contact. So we'll just use this last one to feel that we get a little bit of shaft lean coming into impact. Oh, that wasn't quite as good as the other two. But you can definitely see, again, look, I've got the visual, I know I hit it fat, but if you can practice your strike to see where you're at, this is obviously a great way of getting a better understanding of your strike. If you can then make sure that you are creating the wrist conditions that you need for a little bit of shaft lean, you're halfway there to striking the golf ball crisply every time.